Ohio State must view every game like a playoff game, including Saturday's game against Purdue.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Simply visit FanDuel.com to get started. During today's show, we'll discuss how Ryan Day views the team's physicality after the Penn State win, as well as the team's plans for Caleb Downs. But first, the Buckeyes must view every game like a playoff game, including Saturday's game against Purdue. Now, when you hear that statement, you might think, Jay, man, you've lost your mind. Purdue's 1-7. The only team they've beaten is an FCS school. There is no real way Ohio State should view this like a playoff game, but they should, because if Ohio State goes into this game like it's a playoff game, you're having a mindset thinking postseason. Your level of preparation is a postseason level of preparation. The intensity you're playing with is a postseason level of intensity, which is what Ohio State needs right now, because November is for contenders. And right now we know Ohio State is a contender, but if they don't view things like playoff games and raise up their level of intensity and raise up their level of preparation and raise up their level of physicality, then they could slip up and have 2 losses in the regular season, which nobody thinks they're going to have or they should have, but it's possible. Yes, Purdue is bad. I don't normally say things like that about football teams. I try to give teams the benefit of the doubt. Nebraska, I can say y'all average. I have said things about y'all after that game that weren't really impressive, and that what we saw from Nebraska that day wasn't really great. What we got from Nebraska that day is way better than Purdue. Purdue's a bad football team. Like I mentioned, their only win is against a FCS school in Indiana State. That was a 49-0 blowout. But then Purdue has really struggled to score all season long. Only scored 7 points against Notre Dame. Only scored 10 against Nebraska. Only scored 6 against Wisconsin. They were shut out by Oregon. And a week ago, they scored 20. They lost by 6 to Northwestern, which is also another bad football team. But Purdue is a team that's going to come in and throw the kitchen sink at Ohio State. They're going to try everything in their power to muddy up the game, to make sure that they try their best to upset the Buckeyes. I don't think it's going to happen. The Buckeyes should blow out Purdue. It shouldn't be a contest. Wouldn't shock me if Ohio State scores 52 plus in this game, because Purdue is that bad. But if you go into a game and you realize, man, they are that bad. I mean, statistically, you've heard, like, if you look at their numbers, it's not good, man. Like, this is one of the rare teams that I'm just shocked at how bad they are. They're allowing 203 rushing yards per game. They're giving up 244 passing yards per game. They're averaging less than 200 passing yards and less than 150 rushing yards. I mean, the stuff they're doing is unheard of from a program that at one point was respected and did a lot of winning. That's not this team. If Ohio State falls into the trap of looking at the stats, looking at the record, looking at how Purdue has played, you see the film and you're saying, man, I can bring my D game. We still going to win this game. That's not what you want to have going into this game this weekend, because you're not preparing yourself for Purdue. You're preparing yourself for the playoff. You're preparing yourself for a deep, long run in a new format. You are preparing yourself to go and get a bye, win the Big Ten championship game, to get a bye in the playoff, and then to play 16 games in this year. And you know what it's going to take? A level of effort, a level of intensity that we've never seen in this sport for that long. Maybe we've seen that level of intensity and physicality. We've seen the coaching rise to the occasion, but not for this length of time. Up until now, you've only needed to play 15 games to win the Natty. 15. But now it could be 16 games. It could be 17 games. You're looking at a longer season. You're looking at more of a grind. You're looking for players that are going to have to dig deep in areas and in games that most of the time you're not playing 2 or 3 opponents in the postseason that are legit top 10 teams. But that's what we're looking at right now if Ohio State wants to accomplish their goals. You cannot overlook an opponent. You can't slip up. You can't go into it and just say, oh, I'm going to give half effort here. One, that's a way for you to get hurt. I mean, a lot of guys will go all out, and unfortunately, the injury bug's going to hit you. But then there are times that there's someone just walking on the field or lollygagging around, and I've seen it. You've seen it. And you're like, man, that's just not what you should do. And next thing you find, homie gets hurt. I was watching the game. This is a few years ago now. There was a guy locally where I used to live that was a receiver at his high school, but he was being recruited and committed to Iowa to play tight end. And I watched this cat play one game. I said, okay, cool. Let me see a little bit about what he is as a player. Didn't have it, man. Didn't have it at all. He's not at Iowa anymore. He's now at, I believe, at Indiana State, closer to home, which is cool for him. Family's closer. There's a lot of things that are beneficial for him being at Indiana State than being at Iowa. But I'm thinking, you're lollygagging. You're not doing the thing you're supposed to do. I came to watch you for the first time, and I came to see a guy that maybe you're a receiver in high school, but I was saying you're that type of player. Got a physicality, got a mindset, you're physical. I didn't see any of that from him, and he's lollygagging, man, just moping around like he know he was big man on campus, and he acted like that on the field. I saw him play basketball, and I'm like, that's not what you should do if you that dude. But that's just what he did, man. He had that mentality, and the coaches allowed him to do it. It's not good. Now imagine on Saturday if Will Howard or Quinshon Judkins or fill in the blank Buckeye player just goes out there and says, I'm gonna go through the motions, man. I'm gonna go half speed here because I can, man. Purdue just so bad. We've seen the film, and they're like, man, I got this play that we got this play that we can take advantage of them. We got that play. We got this play we didn't even utilize all year, but we're gonna use it against Purdue. We have all these things that we can utilize against Purdue, and man, I ain't got to go all out. Think about a couple years ago against Northwestern. That may have been the mindset where Ohio State realized, man, we ain't got to go all out. It's Northwestern. This weather is crazy. Got 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. We got Stroud, but I don't know if Stroud can rip it in this wind, man, because this weather is abnormal. The players doing warm-ups, the players during the game on the sidelines were just like, I don't want to be here. Now, they ended up winning the game, but there were also some issues Ohio State had later on in the season, and maybe that was a sign of things to come in that Northwestern game. If the Nebraska game was followed by a Penn State game that was not the level of intensity or physicality or did not show you that Ohio State learned from their mistakes, we would have a problem and we would be more emphasizing, look, if y'all want to win the Natty, you can't do that. But we didn't see that against Penn State. You're back home. It's a 12 noon kick. It's earlier in the day, and a lot of players love the earlier kickoffs. That's cool. But don't go back and have the same mindset, have the same behavior that you had the last time you were in Ohio Stadium. No. Don't make that sideline feel like a funeral, man. Go out there, get hype, root on your teammates, and you know what? Treat it like a playoff game. Because if you treat it like a playoff game, you're going to get up big, you're going to get some rest, but also you're helping yourself be ready for the postseason. One thing that'll help Ohio State be ready for the postseason is for them to accomplish their goal for Caleb Downs throughout the rest of the year. What is it? I'll tell you next. This episode is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Simply visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All the action goes down at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen every day. Caleb Downs is one of those guys that's a lot of fun to watch. He came to Ohio State after a phenomenal true freshman season at Alabama. Nick Saban retired, and Ryan Day said, we got to go down there to Tuscaloosa and get that guy. And he did just that. And Caleb Downs has been a phenomenal player this year all season long. Back there at the safety position, we got to feel his presence and his impact all game long a week ago against Penn State. And one thing Ohio State wants to do right now with Caleb Downs is they want to add to Downs' ability to impact games. Now, when you hear that, you're thinking you want to add to it. He's already impacting the games in such a great way. What are their plans right now to add to Caleb Downs' ability to impact games? May it be special teams? May it be offense? May it be expanding what he does on defense? I think all of those might be in play. Because during the presser after practice on Wednesday evening, Ryan Day did something I wasn't really expecting him to do. He talked about Caleb Downs in the one game he saw Downs play in high school. Not to say the one, but a game he saw Caleb Downs play in high school. He talked about his ability to play running back. This is also talking about his ability to return punts. He talked about the one punt return he had when he was at Alabama. And it made me think back to the preseason when Ryan Day got behind the microphone and started talking about Caleb Downs being in the running back room. Now, I don't think Downs needs to play running back. I mean, you got Judkins, you got Henderson, and they're both showing they can get the job done. So I'm not saying that. But if you're telling me you want to add to how a guy can impact the game and add to his ability to impact the game, and his impact has already been felt in a crazy way to begin with, we're seeing him back there on punt return. He hasn't really had a chance to cut loose and to take one to the house yet, or just really get a good return in. But it might be something where he plays a little bit of running back too, because he can, because he's that good. And if Ohio State is able to do exactly what they want to do with Caleb Downs and find more ways for him to impact the game, you're looking at a defense right now. Let's just look at the defense specifically. You're looking at a defense that's already beginning to figure out things. They got re-engineered, as they said, after the Oregon game. It's a luxury Jim Knowles has to be able to re-engineer things mid-season, because you have guys that can quickly shift things and adjust things and work with a re-engineered defense on the fly in the middle of the season. That's unheard of, man. Like, I know coaches will put different things in and try to add to, but re-engineering something is not saying you're going to take it all apart and start from scratch. But, buddy, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of nuances. There are a lot of things that you're trying to do when re-engineering a defense that if you do it in the middle of the season, it could backfire in a big way. Now, it didn't backfire against Nebraska, so they're doing some things right, and it did not backfire against Penn State. Now, there were some issues a little bit that were thinking Ohio State's defense was trending in a way you don't want it to go. But then the second game happened after that Oregon game. We saw, oh no, we see what's going on here. Things are just fine. And it will be absolutely fine for Ohio State to add to Caleb Downs' ability to impact games. That's what you want to do. If I'm Caleb Downs and I'm already finding ways to impact the game right now, I'm not going to complain if Ryan Day or Jim Knowles or Matt Guerrieri say, hey, bro, we're going to try to add some stuff to what you do on the football field because what you're doing now is great, but we believe you have the capacity to do more. I feel sorry for Purdue, man. Like, I really do. Uh, I, this is a team that's coming to the shoe during one of the worst years that they've had in quite a long time. And there's nothing they can do to stop Ohio State. Now, okay, let me say this. There are things they can do to stop Ohio State. They won't be successful. Let's put it that way. Because I don't want to throw all the disrespect out there. But what they're going to throw won't be successful at all. Because we expect certain things from Ohio State after that Penn State game, we think we're going to get them. Offensively, more physicality, being able to do whatever you want offensively. They've been using 13 personnel, which is something I really was shocked when I started seeing it out there more consistently. But defensively, will we see some more three down lineman looks? Maybe, but primarily a 4 down set. You can run a 4-3. You could run a 4-2. Honestly, Ohio State could legitimately run a 3-3-5 if they wanted to, which I think if Ohio State went into the playoff with a 3-3-5, 3-3-5 stack, or whatever, it don't really matter the version of 3-3-5. If they try to do that a little bit more in the postseason, that's a great way to, one, add to Caleb Downs' ability to impact games because you're kind of shifting his mode because you can go three safeties deep. Like you can, instead of having Hancock be more of a nickel, you can have him be a deep safety and truly mess up the mindset, mess up the pre-snap read of the opposing quarterback. But for Downs, he can handle that. But I think his biggest impact right now that we have seen so far is his ability to be a coach on the field and an extension of Jim Knowles while Knowles is up in the sky. Caleb Downs is a guy we heard in the offseason about how he was able to quickly learn things at camps in high school and then coach those things up to players. And right now for Ohio State's defense, as Jim Knowles is re-engineering things, Caleb Downs is not getting the coach-to-player communication, but once he hears it, he can quickly dissect it, digest it, and display it out to everybody else and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the look here. Oh, no, shift you here, you there. And he's a very great coach on the field, which is what Jim Knowles wants, but also his ability to do everything. And I don't normally say that about guys, but we've seen enough from Caleb Downs through 8 games in the Scarlet and Gray to truly understand and believe he can do everything from providing run support from a deep safety spot or maybe even coming down in the box before the snap of the ball, being able to eliminate the impact, almost eliminate the impact and very much contain the impact of a Tyler Warren a week ago because he had to focus on that guy, or maybe it's just helping in pass coverage in various capacities. We have seen Caleb Downs' ability to, one, do everything, but two, do everything at such a high level. Offenses cannot find a way to slow him down or to stop him because he's that good. Just as Jeremiah Smith is that good, Caleb Downs is that good. And when Downs walks on the field, he's the best guy out there. And I don't say that about a lot of people. And yes, Jeremiah Smith's on Ohio State's team. Caleb Downs is better. That's how good Caleb Downs is. And that's why Ryan Day is trying to add to his ability to find different ways for him to impact games. One thing we saw a week ago that helped Ohio State impact the game against Penn State was something that Ryan Day has a lot of confidence in. We'll dive into that next. This episode is brought to you by Hims. Your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. Through Hims, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside your door. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. Now is the time to reserve a table so you can unwrap years of family fun on Christmas morning. Everything you need for in-home and backyard entertainment is at Billiards Plus. They are family owned and operated, and when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. And make sure you check out some of their new games in stock now. Billiards Plus, visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of the day. And one thing we saw Ohio State do in a great way against Penn State was raise their level of physicality. It's one thing we have been somewhat pounding the table for quite a long time, and we got it for 4 quarters on offense and on defense against Penn State in a record crowd. And that's one thing that Ryan Day has a lot of confidence in right now is the physicality that Ohio State had. A direct quote from him during his press conference after practice on Wednesday, quote, "There's a confidence in the physicality," end quote. But Ryan Day also said, quote, "Execution has to get better," end quote. And I love when Ryan Day talks about things he's confident in, but goes back to something that has to get better, and it's the execution. Your physicality can be great, but if you're not executing at a high level, there's a big, big problem. And right now, what we're finding with Ohio State is the execution is getting better, but it's not where it needs to be every single down. And that should be expected. You're in the beginning of November. You have 4 more games left on your schedule. We have a feel. We know what Ohio State is. We have a feeling we know what Ohio State can be. But for Ohio State to be what we think they can be, but they got to execute better. And that's across the board. Offensively, defensively, on special teams, they got to execute better. And with the leadership that Ohio State has and the vets all over the field, I don't think it'll be a problem of being able to find ways to work on the details that will help you execute better. But on special teams, that's one thing that I mentioned because that's one area that Ohio State's not really been executing at a high level all year long. It hasn't been. It's very confusing as to why. The special teams is one area that the Buckeyes don't really hit on consistently year after year after year. Now, it can happen. It can be something that they work on and they're able to figure out ways to execute on, but they just don't. From kickoffs being kicked out of bounds 3 times in a row, a missed field goal here or there, which you don't want those, but unfortunately they happen. Also, why doesn't Ohio State try to block punts? Is it to avoid a penalty? Maybe. But you got guys out there that are athletic freaks. They can definitely go out there and try to block a punt. You got guys with a mindset that will lay it all out on the line to block a punt. Go out there and try and do it. Punt returns. Now, this is one of those things, though, when it comes to lack of punt return, just yardage in general, most teams are not going to try to punt to Brandon Ennis or maybe even Caleb Downs or Mecca Buka. You're not trying to. You get enough of those guys, Downs on defense, Ennis and Abuka on offense. You don't want to try to have them impact the game on special teams too. So as much as I want to try to get Ohio State to do more special teams, especially with the punt returns, it's not really going to happen. Kickoff returns, though, is a different story. Because the fact that Ohio State kick return unit is not better or doesn't get more production, is it execution? Is it having the right guys on the field? That's for Day and the coaches to decide. But what we learned in the offseason was Ryan Day did a lot of things different to prepare for this year. One of them was he making a series of phone calls. A couple of those calls he made was one to Jim Tressel, one was to Urban Meyer. And he even said that he really hasn't spent much time as maybe he would like, or really at all, with Jim Tressel. Just occupations, especially with Tressel being when he used to be the president at Youngstown State. It was a busy man. Very, very, very busy man. But one thing he learned in the offseason was you don't have to hire, well, not learn, but he kind of got some advice to not hire a special teams coordinator, but divvy up the responsibilities to coaches already on your staff. That does open up another spot on on the coaching staff for another position coach, which is cool. I mean, you're literally dividing your secondary room in half to safeties and corners. Is that needed? No, but it does help those guys get more expertise one-on-one more consistently with a guy who's specific with the corners instead of corner stuff and safety stuff, and maybe you're doing a lot of the stuff at the same time. But Ohio State on special teams should be better. Absolutely. As well as being more physical, as well as executing better. If you execute better all over the place and on all three levels, all three parts of the game, a rematch with Oregon, a potential rematch with Oregon, but before that potential rematch, you got to play a really, really, really good Indiana team. Excuse me, I say IU my entire life. A really good IU team. Got to get back to my bread and butter. But also, you still got Michigan, who's not good, but they're still going to try to play spoiler. And in that game, we know it. Throw your record out the window. Throw Ohio State's record out the window. Throw Michigan's record out the window. These two teams can't stand each other. It's time for war during that week. We know it's Thanksgiving week on that time, Thanksgiving on Thursday, but that doesn't eliminate the desire of both teams to just destroy the other. Bring the physicality there, but if you start working on your execution now, and it gets better and better and better, and then on defense, execution gets better. You're more on the same page. Unfortunately, during the Oregon game, Ohio State saw themselves way too many times having issues lining up, and all of a sudden at the snap of the ball, they're not lined up, and Oregon took advantage of that. Did a whole lot better with that against Nebraska, and then a whole lot better with that against Penn State. Maybe it's confusion about what the look that they're seeing. Maybe it's lack of preparation. I'm not sure. But Ohio State, that's knowing the stuff and getting lined up is a part of your execution, getting better and better and better in every area. It's going to help you accomplish your goals. It's going to help you get ready for the game against Purdue, the game against Northwestern, and then IU and Michigan after that. But also, it's what you want to do. It's what you need to do for Ohio State to do everything they set out to accomplish this year. Thank you all for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. For your second listen, make sure you check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, because Craig Sheeman is the guy that puts the Big Ten first when everyone else overlooks it. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.